Welcome back to another episode of Off Road with the Abrams. I'm James Abrams on the left and John Abrams on the right. This is episode 20, and it will, in fact, be the last show of this season. John, how do you feel
Season
about that?
finale feels good. Season finale. I should explain the absence last week, other than the fact that I realized last week also it was a holiday, so it kind of like timed out. But I should say, so the reason for the absence last week is my fault. Is my fault that we weren't able to go last week, because I'm doing this online class right now, and it was my exam Tuesday morning, the next morning. So I was like doing the whole crunch study thing. But it's actually, I wanted to talk about it a little bit because it's international law stuff, but it was so funny because I'm still doing this class. And today, my prop, oh, by the way, when I'm in, James, like when I'm doing this online class, because it's all on Zoom, right? I'm,
Yes?
I'm in the off-road set.
Oh, nice, nice.
All the time, and nobody has asked me about Pete the owl. Nobody's asked me. I don't know why. Like, it's just like there's this owl sitting beside me in class, and I've got off road, and like everybody just thinks, okay, sure. But anyway, it was great because our prof today, he said because we have this big assignment due tonight at midnight,
Yes?
and it's like worth a good chunk of the grade or whatever. And he says,
It's tonight?
yeah, but no, hold on. And in class today, he goes, yeah, there's a Toronto, Montreal.
I
And
was
he
just
hadn't
about to
planned
say
this.
that.
He hadn't planned this. He was just sitting in class and just musing. He was like, and it's been due tonight for like the last 5 days. And he goes, yeah, it'll be due tomorrow night.
That's fantastic.
Just
That's
straight
so
up. It's like,
awesome.
and everybody's like done or like close to done pretty much, or the people who are gonna crunch. Thankfully, I did mine over the weekend because I knew we'd be working together tonight. And so, but he's just like, yeah, midnight tomorrow night. There's no way that anybody here is going to do this assignment. If
Oh, and
so,
I mean, we might as well talk about it, but a huge
I
game
know,
tonight.
huge game.
We I'm obviously talk about hockey. It seems like at least every other week,
Hockey and
especially
country
right
music,
now.
though. Hockey and country music, though, are like cousins. I think.
Yeah, absolutely,
You
absolutely.
know,
And speaking of hockey, Kevin Abrams. I'm assuming it's the Kevin Abrams that we all know.
that's right.
Is big into hockey, so that's a neat connection. Thank you for liking the stream. We appreciate
Yeah,
that. Anyways,
Coach
it's a
Kevin.
huge, absolutely. The huge game tonight with the Leafs and the Habs, and I had been mentioning about the Bruins. They're already on their way through. I was if you go back and watch the last episode, I was a little uh, a little nervous about the Bruins. They had just lost, I think, the first game, and then they went on to win 4 games after that, and they're
I
on to the
know.
second round. So
I know.
I felt like when I was editing together the stuff to get it out to audio and whatever, I felt I could feel the tension. Our mom actually texted me and said, watch the show. Thinking of you. I know I get stressed for you, and I just can't turn it off. You know what I mean? There's no reason why. Now I guess you could consider me a grown man, right, John? There's no reason why a grown man would get nervous over a team that basically he has nothing to do with. But it's what happens when you grow up in
It, it
Canada.
it is easy to forget about it though, about you being a grown man. Not because you don't act like a grown man, but because of all the
Okay.
bonding that we did when we were little. And particularly, I just still there are times when I still see in my mind as this little bobble-headed kid. People have to understand that when James was little, we both have pretty big heads. Like we say what that our heads are kind of made for TV.
Listen,
Like they're pretty large heads.
I was
But
corrected recently. Someone measured my head. I made comments, and they measured my head. My head was not that much larger than the other person who had an average size head. So I don't know.
I don't know if they have an average size. But anyway, my point is my point is when you were little, like I had a head long this way. James had like the football head, like it was a proper football head, and it always looked pretty good in a cowboy hat. I thought pretty funny in a cowboy hat.
Well,
I don't
appreciate
know if
that,
we got
Jody.
off on that,
Yeah,
but
Joe
anyway,
Jody's in the chat. Thank you, Jody. I'm glad Facebook's working. I tried to check, and for some
good.
reason, both my Facebook apps, because they have personal ones, they have business ones or whatever, and our Abrams page is considered a business page, I guess. So
Right.
I couldn't get either of them to work. So I don't know. So I'm glad that it's at least it's working for you on there, and yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to watch some hockey tonight. Obviously, the
So
Bruins are
it's
playing as
so for
well.
anybody who doesn't know, it's Game 7,
Game 7.
Montreal and Toronto playing
Yep.
tonight. Big rivalry there, obviously in normal times, but add in the fact that it's Game 7 in a series, the final game for anybody who doesn't follow Stanley Cup playoffs, and so this is the game, and so it's kind of James and I we were talking about how the whole country watches this, even if you don't like Toronto, you probably will watch it anyway. If you don't like Montreal, you'll probably watch it anyway, even if you're from out west. It's sort of like one of those things, and it's yeah. I mean, it's also the weird thing about this year because of our Canadian league that we've got, a Canadian division that we've got going on throughout this year due to COVID and quarantine rules. If one of them, or if like Toronto gets through to the very end, and say Boston gets to the very end, we were talking about this. That's the only time in history that those teams would ever play in the final, because it's usually the East and West divisions, right?
It's
So
very
uh,
strange, yeah.
so really, really weird year, but also kind of a cool shakeup. I like that.
Yeah, no, it would be pretty crazy for me as a Bruins fan to see them play the Leafs in the finals, just with how much of a rivalry there is there, and folks that watch us from overseas may not be familiar with that, but it's a pretty big deal
Oh
here
yeah,
for sure. Like there's a number of series within the last 10 years where it's been the Bruins have typically won. In fact, they've won every time, so it's kind of the nemesis of the Leafs, and but I love being able to turn on some hockey every. It seems like every night. Well, now it is every night. There's some games on for the playoffs here, and seeing some people down in the rinks. I mean, the Bruins they played their game
right.
um, over the weekend, and they were 75% full, I think, or more.
Amazing. No
They were
cardboard
almost
cutouts.
full. They were almost full, and people were cheering, and
That's
it was
so
crazy. It was
cool.
crazy to see. It felt like, like going back in time, and I really think the athletes are, it makes such a huge difference because
Oh yeah, I would. I mean, it's like performing, right? I mean, you need that crowd to feed off the energy and it really affects the game, does it not, James? Like, I mean,
yeah,
it's like when James and I, when we're on stage and when we're out on tour, just even if you have a big crowd, it's not the size of the crowd that matters, it's the energy from the crowd. You could have a small crowd and have more energy than, say, a big crowd that's quieter, and it's all about the kind of feedback that you get, and that actually just causes us to just be super energized. So I mean, I why would it be any different? And I think that's one of the other examples of where hockey or sports and music really do cross over. And we are in the entertainment industry, all of us. It's, I mean, that's at the end of the day what
sure.
sports are. But so for our UK fans or our
So here's
European
the
fans,
yeah.
the rivalry is, and I believe I still have this right. At least this is good information as of like 10 years ago. But Chelsea versus Manchester United, I think that's probably a good comparison as far as the rivalries are concerned.
Yeah, I'm not familiar
Um,
with any
Correct
of
me
that
on
stuff.
that if I'm wrong, but I remember that being told 10 years ago that was I think it's an old rivalry. So
Nice,
yeah,
nice.
let's see if people
Amy,
correct me or not.
Amy's in the chat, so she can correct you.
Right, she will.
Amy says, "I hear you're going." Well, first of all, I'll just finish this. So, what's strange about this year is that, as you can see, these Canadian teams and the Bruins, my favorite team, are on opposite ends of the playoff bracket, and so they can end up playing in the final. This is the finals, so each round, you
Right,
see,
exactly.
and that's a very strange thing that doesn't happen typically because of the normal brackets. Anyways, let's move on from hockey because not everybody is knows know or is as invested as we are into it. But we
But
have
it's
Joe.
it's definitely this
It's
this one,
topical.
I mean, like, I get that talking about it during the regular season for sure, but this particular night is like,
I agree.
it's very key for all of our Canadian fans and listeners and watchers here, viewers. Like they probably aren't watching because they're getting ready for the game.
Yeah, yeah. So as I
So,
said when we were coming in, this is the 20th episode of this season, and man, it's been flying by. I can't believe we're 2 seasons in. And we've had a lot of fun with this, but we're hoping that next season will be even bigger and better. And particularly, I'm hoping that we're able to mix in a few more sort of special guests of
Yeah, we have
and
some idea. We've already had some chats.
yeah, and
Yeah,
so that's definitely a possibility. Also, we've always had the interest of having some travel related, stuff added into the mix with this show, keeping people up to date when we're on the road, or just,
absolutely. I can't wait for that.
I mean that the traveling and doing streams and stuff is such a big part of websites like Twitch and I'm sure on YouTube there's streamer people that stream that kind of stuff. So that's something that mixes in or overlaps a bit with what we do as a job, and so it'd be cool to kind of explore that a little bit. We have did I
Well, and
mention
that kind of
Amy's
go ahead,
comment? I
James.
didn't. I think I cut out. So I gotta mention Amy's comment here. But do you want to comment on that, John?
Oh, what about the Man U and Chelsea, or about the other
About season 3.
about season? Or no, I didn't. Sorry, I didn't see this comment. It was hiding behind your name.
No, no, no,
So
no,
what?
no. I'll address the comment then. I thought maybe you're gonna jump in and say something about next season or something.
Oh, no, no.
Okay, great. So Amy
You can go
says,
ahead.
I hear you're going to BCDO 2022.
Yeah, so they must have announced it. We typically sort of wait to hear. So if they have, we finalize talks to be there next year. So
Holy smokes.
that's what's in the works, and that's the plan. So we definitely we agreed on it. So we're all set to go, and we can't wait to see you guys again. We're just so pumped.
So
I
we're
don't even
going
know if
to.
I don't even know if I've been authorized to say it, but I don't care.
I don't know if you told me, honestly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, we talked about it, but that's okay.
Oh, I must have been
Yeah, we're
sleeping.
full steam,
So there
and
you go. There's,
there you go.
already on the agenda is,
If Amy found out about it, then
most likely
then
getting, she said they've announced you. So
phenomenal. Good.
it's
Okay,
nice to,
it's out there.
it's nice
We're
to have some
going coming
trips.
back.
That's an example. So like being over there, that would be something where we would be hopefully doing an off-road from
Oh, I'd love to
England.
do that. That
So,
would be
I mean,
awesome. We should.
that would
We should.
definitely, for me, dial up the excitement. Not that I have fun every week with looking at your face, John.
Oh, that's
I
nice. That's
particularly
nice.
have fun. That's the first time I've seen that mountain thing come in nicely.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see
I
that?
haven't seen that in a while. It's lovely.
Yeah,
Yeah, I saw that. Maybe
yeah.
people haven't been subscribing.
That's probably true. Um, but that for me was a big part of when we were starting this. Or like even when we were thinking about the idea, that was a big part of what I hoped this show would be about. And then it's like it ended up that it really was, a saving grace here, being able to stay connected through what we've all been going through here. And
So
but
true.
I always hoped that we would be able to have more flexibility in what we were able to do, right? And basically,
Yeah.
we had to resort to just being in our own basements. Well, you're not in your basement, but staring at each other here, and the comments are really the highlight. So, just being able to do some more a variety of stuff that we can do, and chats and places we can be when we do it, be awesome. But hopefully,
Well,
we'll
and
figure out a
we've
setup
been
for the
able to
bus.
work out all the, most of the kinks here to be able to do it, just here. So now that we've had the opportunity
Exactly.
to do
It was
that,
it was
doing
probably
it portable
necessary.
would have been. Can you
I
imagine
I would have
last
I
year?
would have messed it up so bad.
Our whole rickety setup like last year. Can you imagine taking that on the bus? And actually, speaking of the
I would have
bus,
tried.
it was so great. We had, I know we're going to talk about you. You went on you and I think must have been Dad went on a little
Yes. I
joyride
got to catch up on the
the other
chat
day.
though. Got to catch up on the chat here, and then I will get into that.
Yeah, but I was just gonna say on the topic of what we're talking about, taking this on the road. I had a couple guys who were out on a ride. It wasn't motorcycle. They were out driving their cars coming from Ottawa, just doing like a Kingston drive, and they stopped in because they saw the bus, and they're like bus nuts. Like this one guy, he
Oh,
has
really?
like an old tour bus, and he was like, "Oh, I gotta talk." So I stood out there and chatted about it, and I looked at the bus and went, "Yeah, we're really close to getting that thing back on the
I
road
know.
again.
I'm
It feels
pumped.
so good." But
Very
anyway,
pumped.
I didn't tell you that, James, but like it gets noticed. People
That's
go by and
awesome.
like,
Well,
and he
it's one
didn't
of those
know,
classic buses. I mean, we should chat about the bus. Maybe we do that today, but it's one of those classic buses, and we can bring up some pictures of that era of bus. But it was a very sort of iconic style, particularly for like 80s rock,
true.
right? And
100%.
rock and
Yeah.
roll, like
And country. 80s
Brian
rock and country,
Brian
like
Adams and all those sorts of. you
Yeah,
know,
Bon Jovi,
Yeah,
I think he had a music video in a bus that was like the same model as
yeah.
ours. Like it's
Well,
just
we can pull
very
up a good old
classic.
days and kind of show some of it too. I mean,
Great idea. Yeah,
but
that's a good way to showcase it.
Jody says, I'm looking forward to crowds at NFL games. Buffalo fans do make a difference. Absolutely. Buffalo fans are
Absolutely, Buffalo
crazy. Don't
fans.
they smash through tables and do wild pregame stuff? It's like they tailgate and they each it's a contest to see who can get crazier. Amy says Chelsea and uh Man U still
Yeah,
at
yeah,
top
Man U.
of Premier League. Nothing
Yeah, there you
really
go.
has
I was
changed much
right.
over the
I was
years.
right. Big rivalry, Chelsea and
Jay
Manchester
Smith.
United.
Jay, thanks for being here. Hey fellas, seeing Harrismith soon. The Smiths are moving in.
Ooh,
There you go. So
that's
you're gonna have a
awesome.
new neighbor, John.
That's awesome.
Jay
I'm
Smith says,
telling you,
"Go Habs, go."
Aerosmith is on the up. It's on the up, man. People are coming. They're finding. Speaking of these guys, they literally asked me. So funny. These guys asked me because we were chatting about the bus and anyway, and then as it went down, they said, "Yeah, so what is there to do in Aerosmith? Like
Oh my goodness.
where's the downtown area? Like what should we do over here?" And I said, "Man, you're in it." Like
This
people
is
that
it.
don't realize this is like a corner. Like we live on like a crossroads. And I said, well, you can get pizza there,
Yeah,
or you can get pizza there,
it's a great spot.
or talk to us. That's about. It's like kind of like
Great spot.
going on anyway. But that's
T-
we love about it. It's
Tina
charm.
says, "Go Habs, go." So we got and Jay says, "Go Habs, go." So
Okay.
we got
Okay.
Habs fans in here.
Two for Habs.
Um, so I think if anybody's a Toronto fan, you better speak up here.
Yeah.
They announced you. Oh yeah, sorry, it's on their website too that we're gonna be at Big
Yes.
Church Day Out.
Excellent. So glad to hear.
Jody says, I just clicked follow and that happened, lol. So right on. So it's
Thank you,
Jody's
Jody.
following that did that.
Right on.
Yeah, and that was on
That's great.
Facebook. It's like, remember I wanted that to happen back I guess I can say 40 episodes ago, I think. No, it would have been 20 episodes ago
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we did
Yeah.
the new
Yeah.
setup at the start of this season.
Yeah.
And bizarre that we've done 40 of these. But I mean,
I know.
half of it was with the brutal setup that we were doing in Skype.
Well, I know, but even still, like it's
Or
it's
not
weird to
Skype,
think like that it was
Zoom.
over a year that we started. Because I remember it was like May the 4th
Oh, it was on
because it was Star Wars Day.
it was on Jody's Twitch account. So I think that's the way
Okay.
it works, that stuff comes in on the Twitch thing. Nobody's
Gotcha.
interested in this, but
But even this
for
season,
me
like
it is.
2020, we took two separate weeks on each on holidays to take a break. Mine was last week was I just talked about, but so it's been 22 weeks ago was when we started this season. Like,
Yep.
that's 5 months or whatever. Like
My
that's
goodness. Yeah, my goodness.
wild day.
Amy says, "How's the writing going?" And it's going great.
Awesome. We were just together here in Harrowsmith a couple days ago. James and I were cooking up another track, and
well, and the setup that I got actually has helped a lot with that, and I think we've talked about that. But it really, looking back, it was really really thankful that I did get the setup that I have and the computer that I'm able to run recording software and stuff that we didn't have previous to this pandemic, and so it made it more flexible for John and I to come up with ideas and songs and then send those to people. And so
I think I've shouted out before, but Tog Salter is producing a record with us.
Work with him, which is
we
really
are
exciting. So that's
finally going back to Nashville
nearest trip,
in July.
Yeah.
All thanks to getting vaccines and
we'll get into that
which we're going to talk about in a sec.
Yeah,
but I want you to talk about your motorcycle ride, James, because these guys rode Joyride, and I was thinking of you, and I can't believe literally this is how in sync we are. We're like we have talked about this, how we have a bit of
there's
a
a picture. I went on a ride.
I was thinking of you with the day that those guys showed up, and I thought, I wonder if James has been.
There's a picture. Let people look at that while I read Jay's comment here. We bought the I'm assuming old, but I also see OK, D Schoolhouse. The OK.
Oh, they bought the Schoolhouse.
Lots of room for jamming, John.
Oh
old
my gosh!
Yeah, he says
so cool.
old Schoolhouse in the next.
Yeah, I saw it for sale, and then I saw it like sell, and Alex and I were watching. We were like, "Oh, the Schoolhouse sold!" So man, that's such a small world. That's crazy.
Very cool.
That's
very
so
cool.
Cool. Well, that's great. The Smiths are in town.
Smiths are in town. You always need a Smith somewhere, right?
You do.
Oh, there's a picture of Dad and I. We went on
love it
a ride to a place called Athens, Ontario, which um, we were actually we passed the Joshua Bates Center,
Yeah, that's right.
and
That's right.
we had
We
a show lined up actually
we do,
before stuff
and
got
it's been deferred
okay.
because of COVID, but yeah, Mary Ray over there, like the whole
So
Joshua Bates
we're
Center,
doing some early promoting
the
here, just throwing
godmother
it
of
out there.
country music. We've talked about her in other media
She's been in
appearances.
the stream too before, I think.
That's right. That's right. And so it's actually great because the Joshua Bates Center was one of the early places that you and I have ever played. So going back to Athens, Ontario, like to the Joshua Bates Center is very like a full circle thing because we played there when we were really young, like really young, and Pop was playing bass with us and stuff.
Right,
Like, and
right,
so
right.
so it's pretty cool to be able to swing back through there. And so you're on a ride. So you went to Athens and back?
Like this.
Yeah, there it is. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, we went for a ride.
I love that building.
I just needed to. Been on. I hadn't been on any of the bikes for I think more than a year. So
Yeah.
Dad just wanted to take me on a shorter ride. I mean, for
Cruise.
me, it was a ways. Also, in this picture, this helmet. I mean, it looks like it fits me, right? But it's well, this was we were talking about the big heads earlier. I'm telling you, man, like here along my cheeks, it after like
Really tight.
after like half an hour we were going, it just started like the just aching pain, and then it ended up like starting like a headache. It was brutal. It's like I it was
Man, you've had
awful. So
a terrible
that
time
kind
with
of
helmets.
got in the way
Okay,
of me just enjoy. But the first 25 minutes, it was like it is so you have to be super alert, especially if you
right.
haven't been doing it. But it is really really relaxing. Like when you go along the back roads
Oh yeah,
from where we
imagine.
grew up in Joyceville, Ontario, and just
Oh,
going along those fields. It's John. It really is.
I'd love to get my
There
license. I'd
really is
love to.
something. I don't know. It's just very,
Like
very
almost like a
relaxing.
spiritual thing, like, like a
Yeah,
connecting.
it's a different headspace you kind of get into, and then it's it's really really fun. And
That's amazing.
Dad and I have a good time, and I don't think there was anything else of note that we got back safely.
Well,
And
let me note something about you and helmets because poor James has the worst time with helmets. James, this was a few years ago, and we've since gone back to do this to perform at this ride. I think it's the ride for Dad that
oh yeah,
our the Rogers country station in Ottawa runs. But so and obviously Amanda and Wendy B, all good friends of ours up there running the station, and so we have helped and we've gone to perform there and that sort of thing. But the first year that they asked, I couldn't go because Alex and I we were producing a Canada 150th concert for kids in Kingston. And that day we had auditions. I remember for these kids, so I had to be there. So I remember James, you took one for the team and you went to the ATV ride for Dad,
yes.
and it was well, and all I'm gonna let you James tell it, but basically in a nutshell, he had a helmet on that had like vents that wouldn't
It was
it
this
wasn't like a
helmet.
motorcycle. It was that same
It
helmet.
was the same helmet that hurts.
Why
Like
didn't you get a
after,
different helmet?
but I think it was so cold. I didn't. That wasn't what my body even
Right.
registered. It
Well, because
was.
that weren't they the cold air was blowing into the vents and
Yeah,
like
so I mean, if you
freezing
look
your
at
head.
this is a motorcycle helmet, so it has vents, which I was newer to riding
Right.
motorcycles at that time, and I didn't realize that there was vents, and like so all the air, cold air in the
Just
middle of winter was going into the helmet, and my head was freezing. Everything was freezing, man. Like it was
your
the coldest
hands.
I had ever felt in my life, and
Long ride too.
it
We
was
go
a
for a
decent
long ride.
ride, yeah. But it basically was just super cold. I mean, there's no other way to describe that
Well,
situation. But
I know when we went back with Wendy, she said she knew, like everybody knew James. They said, "Man, James was
I
such a
came on,
trooper last
yeah,
time."
I came underprepared. It was partially on me too. So, but
It's like when you used
Jody
to wear
says
dish
try
gloves
wearing
riding bicycles in the winter.
riding or using what kind of gloves?
Well, this one I just remember riding bikes together with dad one time on a trail in the early spring, and you didn't have any gloves, so we went into the Home Hardware in Sydenham and bought you dish gloves, and they didn't do anything
Really?
for you, obviously. You remember that? I
No.
remember that was the second bike ride after we got those bikes as kids, and you were wearing yellow rubber dish gloves.
Goodness.
Yeah,
I
funny.
really don't remember that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Um, Jody says try wearing a tactical helmet made for guys when you have a bun or ponytail and
Ooh.
are and as a
Oh, well,
girl,
that'd be me. That'd be
painful,
me.
super painful. So
Thank you. Thank
there
you
you
guys are
go.
thinking it for me.
So that's then I should quit whining here. But it was a great ride and glad to be back doing that and hopefully do that a little
That's
bit more
awesome.
with that and thank you Donna for liking the stream. We appreciate that.
I like the fact that we can just walk outside without having to put a jacket on. Like, you know what? Cherish this right now because
Yeah, yeah.
you know, like just walking outside and people, our viewers from down south don't necessarily, like, they might not care about this as much, but there's something really, really satisfying about just being able to put on a pair of shoes and walk outside without having to, spend 20 minutes getting ready. Like,
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
don't know how that connects to the motorcycle. Oh yeah, the motorcycling, being out in the nice weather. That was what I was thinking about.
Well,
Anyway,
speaking of helmets, actually, let's go to this next. Of course, every week I have a little segment of I've called it fact check with James. It doesn't really make any sense for what we're
no,
doing. It's more like
not at all.
interesting internet.
I like that. I like that. Two eyes.
The
Yeah.
interesting internet,
Mm.
um, as
Certainly
as
is
known
interesting.
as known previously known as fact check with James. Um, Speaking of helmets, I found this picture here.
You're always finding helmets. The
Um,
James is, I think it's like headwear. James finding specific headwear. I think you're
this
traumatized by this helmet situation, man. I think that's what's going on.
this
What is
this
going on?
picture apparently was a safety demonstration by a British inventor, W.T. Warren, of a
Wow.
protective flight helmet he
Looks like Iron
invented.
Man.
A protective flight helmet he invented. So he's showing how great his helmet
Huh.
is by ramming his head into the wall.
Yeah, you
I
could
thought
still
that was
die
pretty
with that
funny.
helmet easily. Yeah, for sure. I don't know that that's going to do much for you.
I thought that I agree, but I also just I thought his demonstration of it was pretty goofy.
Yeah, like just,
But
but also
inventors,
like committed. I'm
invent
selling these.
yeah, yeah, but inventors would do that. Like inventors
Yeah,
salesmen like that back in the day. Eh? Like
a
I
Tesla.
remember reading the Tesla book, and he was as much a performer
Oh
as
yeah.
I mean I wouldn't say as much, but he was very much a performer alongside
Hmm.
of being just ingenious.
Yeah, I knew that.
Um,
I saw the Prestige too. Yeah.
I saw the procedure. What's the
David
other
Bowie.
one that's the
David
exact
Bowie
same?
plays Tesla in that. Did you know that David Bowie plays Tesla in that
Enigma.
movie?
No, what's the one? What's the
No,
one that
no.
came out at the same time that was like
Yeah.
just not
The
quite as good?
Illusionist,
The
Edward
Illusionist.
Norton. Not
I've
quite as
seen The
good as
Illusionist.
Prestige.
That's what you
You know
should
what's
do.
funny is that's the one we saw when the two.
Yeah.
There's, that's another thing. Like the two films come out to compete. Deep Impact and Armageddon. There's another good example.
Right.
A Bug's Life in Ants. That was a good. They
Yeah,
literally
it's
came out
funny
months
how
apart.
the my headphones are dying, man. Like when I turn my head, I
Oh,
for season 3 I'll have some new headphones
new
probably. There'll be a lot
headphones.
of new stuff, but I
Beats by
when I
Dr. Dre.
turn, I can only hear like the one ear goes out. Let's get back to some more
Yes.
interesting internet with James.
Yeah. Very
We
nice.
have a follow up on last week, I believe, when we were, or I guess it was 2 weeks ago because we took last week off, but where we had a photo of some of those
Oh yeah.
skyscraper builders and how they
And think
get
about it.
you know the, they're up on the beams, the metal beams up super high, and I believe it was Alistair who said, just imagine what the photographer's doing. Well, guess who?
No,
Oh
did you
no,
track something down?
I found of course I didn't have it dialed up on my phone. Um, guess who found a photo of the photographer
That's a
who
big camera.
here's a photo of the photographer Charles
Oh,
C. Ebbets taking the iconic lunch atop a skyscraper photo. So
why is he wearing spats? Like he's wearing dress
because
shoes.
he's a professional, John. He's got to dress up for his job. What do you
He's got to be
mean?
professional. Yeah.
Yeah, man,
That's,
he's a pro.
I guess they didn't have like climbing shoes then.
So this is the photographer apparently, True.
Oh my
That took
gosh.
the picture, the most famous photo of those
The one.
guys eating lunch, you know,
Yeah,
up
yeah,
the
yeah.
top. Let's pull it up.
What a find. That thing's like a beat, like a bowling ball the guy's holding. Like,
No, well, that's what Alistair was talking about. Imagine the
yeah.
wind carrying the super heavy camera. I mean, that's as in that moment, it's as dangerous as just sitting there getting your photo taken. Um,
That there, him standing up on those beams in dress shoes with a camera, to me is worse than sitting on there eating your lunch. Do you know what I mean? Like
no,
sitting there eating a
that's
sandwich.
basically what I just said. Sorry, this
Oh,
headphone
okay.
is just yeah. That's
Yeah.
basically what I just said. Is that
Like it's worse.
in that moment, it's worse to be the one taking the
Oh yeah.
photo. That's what
Yeah.
um
Maybe I literally just didn't listen to you. You do
yeah
that to me too.
yeah.
Well, I think it's like
I do
maybe
do that
10 for
sometimes.
James, 1 for me.
Yes, I agree.
You have
This
an excuse
photo.
though. You're operating the tech. I don't have an excuse. I'm just being absent-minded.
This photo I can't get it any larger, but this one where you know
That's the one.
yeah. So
That's the one that
apparently,
you that's the one you see posters of in every college dorm or in every like university person's house. Do you know what I
yeah.
mean? It's like the cliche. Like you always have the picture. This is the one I want on my wall. That's
So
cool.
this apparently was the photographer, which is crazy. I mean, it's
Wow.
now fact check me again. This is formerly known as fact check with James. Sometimes I get things
I think it's
off, but
interesting internet, but James needs to be like maybe just
yes,
fact check on that.
yes.
It's just the underlying notion.
Um, I have quite a few more of these. Let's see. Come back to them, or I can keep going if you want. Um,
We can. What do you have? Let's bring it up. Bring it up.
okay. Well, let's. We did. You did mention your vaccine, so we can show you
Oh
got a
yeah,
photo of your vaccine
we should
here.
talk about that. Yeah. That's true.
And then I'll come back
So
to some more of my other stuff.
really excited to get.
I
James
don't
has
know if
got.
I'm gonna show this picture, dude, though, because people don't like some people don't like needles. So now that I'm thinking about it,
Really?
yeah,
Who
I
wants
think
to see a picture?
no. I
Just
think it's
getting a
actually true.
picture.
Yeah, I think now that I think about it, let's not.
It's just me getting a needle in
Yeah,
my. Anyway, okay.
yeah.
Well, it's not.
Don
Anyway,
got the
so just you can
vaccine.
imagine what
It's
it's like.
legit. He's not lying.
I just. We'll just disclaimer. Just sit on your couch, something soft. If you're gonna
No.
faint, no, it's okay.
I'm not gonna
Okay.
put it up.
Anyway, that's fine. So the vaccine happened, which is awesome. We were so excited. James got his as well, but it was really nice because I was scheduled to get a vaccine in Kingston, and I was still waiting. Alex couldn't get on a list because they just filled up so fast. Um, so we have the absolute best pharmacist next door, Bovin, by the way, and that's pretty much the only other thing you can do in Harrowsmith is go to the pharmacy. And the pharmacy is great because there's a lot. I should say we've talked about how much stuff we have around here, but I mean like right in the heart of the crossroads. And so Bovin called and he said, "Hey, you know, have you guys got your vaccines yet?" I said, well, I told him, I said, well, I'm on a lit, I'm going to go in, but Alex can't get on. And he said, well, I got a slot open at 5 p.m. for a Pfizer vaccine do you guys want to come over? And it was just like, it was literally like having, what's the, like, it's like a Christmas surprise or something. It's like, oh my goodness. And I've never ever been more excited to get a needle. You know what I mean? so,
Sure.
so anyway, it was just awesome. And I just want to shout out to him for actually thinking of us. Like, I mean, cause we're neighbors. He's like, the pharmacy's right across the road. So he thought of us and he thought, okay, well, I've got to fill this schedule now that I've been given all these vaccines. So it was so good of him to think about us, but it was really weird. I found conceptually very weird to, after a year of being, on and off lockdown, after a year of this being like the most talked about and the biggest event in, the globe for a really long time. And after this, like all of this, right. And this talk of vaccines, not having them, then having them and all that stuff, just this simplicity and the kind of seemingly mundane act of just walking off my back porch and just
Across the street, it's pretty
in
weird.
my slippers going across the street and just in 10 minutes have the vaccine. Like it's
Yeah,
just it's just I think it just spoke to me to the miracle of that. Like the miracle
yeah.
of the vaccine. And we're in the middle of this and all through last year we're thinking if we just got to get the vaccines done and but it's actually a miracle how fast they were able to come up with these. And then you start
It's
to
a quick
realize
turnaround.
like this little prick actually completely changes my ability to do anything in the long term. And it really was quite profound.
Well, and
And
all
it
of
was
us.
particularly profound that it was basically on my back porch that I was given this vaccine. So it was really weird.
Yep, yep. No,
Anyway,
it was neat.
that was my feeling.
The picture, and you know, just the experience of not having to go that far. You know, for you, you could just
I
walk
know.
across the street. It was pretty wild,
Yeah.
especially in a smaller place like you know,
Yeah.
Harrismith, where you're from.
Like this little crossroads town, it's like, okay, we're finally starting to see them out, and that was really, that was encouraging. So it's nice. And it's the thing that's just got me and you one step closer to being able to be out with people and be out and do the thing that we
And
love to do and
perform
connect
and
with our
yeah,
performance. Yeah.
yep.
Perform and connect with our audiences. And yeah, anyway, I know we've talked about that, but it was really profound. It was
Uh,
profound in a way I didn't think so.
Nice. Amy says, stream from motorbike when? That would be awesome. Maybe if when we're traveling, I could rent a bike and
GoPro,
then stream a little ride around wherever we're at. That would be
that'd be
very
cool.
cool.
I'd dig
Um,
that.
Amy says we had our first
Oh,
barbecue of the year today. Was a nice day. Right on, right on.
that's awesome.
Sherry Packer, right on.
Yay,
We got
Sherry.
living on the edge. In response to the photo, the photographer up high in the skyscraper.
Absolutely.
Um,
Sherry's
Shalom, guys.
wonderful.
She says.
She Shalom, yeah, yeah. Sherry is like our Israeli, grandmother, Israeli
Absolutely.
aunt, and she's wonderful, wonderful woman, and we've obviously spent lots of time when we were over at Jacob's Ladder. Actually, you know what, man? On this vaccine point, I do want to say, it made me think of this, and I sent you this picture, but this book that I found.
Oh, right, right. Okay.
Okay, so I found this book. So funny. So James and I a couple weeks ago we went to Limestone Creamery to get what honestly is probably the best a soft ice cream that I've ever had. And they have these little take a book, leave a book shelves where you can bring a book. And I didn't end up taking this one, but I found it. And the book is Robert Mendelsohn, MD, How to Raise a Healthy Child in Spite of Your Doctor.
What a title.
And on the inside leaflet, it says it's this doctor who's advocating, saying like doctors don't know what parents know best, doctors don't, basically. I mean,
Wow.
it's a whole book on this,
And this
and it's
guy's an
coming from a
MD.
doctor. And I just thought, I wonder if this book applies anymore in an era where the WebMD internet, speaking of the internet, this is kind of coming off of you talking about, interesting internet, but sometimes the internet is so interesting that parents get hyper obsessive about everything that's going on with their children. And it's probably like I mean, this is a whole topic about sort of helicoptering a bit too hard, but I just thought, okay, with WebMD and searching every little symptom and then it's spurting out the worst thing you can imagine,
Yeah.
I wonder if that really still applies. I mean, I get the concept that parents are in tune with their children, but parents are also hyper obsessive now and have way more information than they did when Robert Mendelsohn, MD, was writing this book. So I wonder, in your opinion, James, somebody who has done biology and is interested in the medical science, what is your thought on that? Do you think this is the kind of book that applies today?
I I don't even know if it applied when it was written. I what I'm wondering is what I was looking for a year in one of the other photos you sent me. He wrote some
Oh
other
yeah.
books that seem a little more controversial here than I'm reading through the titles, but so
Robert
we'll probably
Mendelsohn.
won't put the other ones up,
You can do
but
your own
this
Google search.
I think this is probably just as relevant as it was when it came out, which was I don't feel that relevant, but I have to read it. I should
Okay, so
read a
I have
little
to
bit
go
of
get
it.
it. I have to go get it. Nobody's probably picked this book up. Who's going to pick
You know,
that book up?
remember,
Do you know what I
John,
mean?
don't judge a book by its cover. So I will
Right.
put that. But
We should read this. Do you think
what
it's on
other?
Amazon?
Oh, you never know, man.
Yeah.
Um, Tina says just got my first yesterday, first vaccine, sore arm. Yes, that was one thing that I had too. Like the next day, I was totally
Yeah.
fine. That was the only thing I had was just like when I lifted my arms, hurt a
Yeah,
little
me
bit.
too. Me too,
Jody
for sure.
says, or Nico says, hey friends, how's it going, Nico? Thanks for dropping in it this week. Jody says, and the border should be open sooner than the U.S. projected. Apparently,
That's right.
says
Now, I mean, I should disclaim too, because James and I have work visas. We have
yes.
we have and we have we are workers in the United States. There's that regardless, that would be the reason why we would be able to go. But even still, just getting our vaccines just puts us in a place where we even feel in a good spot responsibly travel. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
at least on the continent of
Yeah.
North America. So, but
Amy
yeah.
Amy said, "What about the person taking a photo of the guy taking a photo?" That was the first comment in
Oh,
that
that
thread
guy.
that I
That's
got.
great.
Yeah, and she's right.
Yeah.
Obviously there would have been someone taking a photo of the guy taking the photo
This
of
is getting
the.
very meta.
Yeah, but
I would
I will
change.
not be digging. I will not be trying to dig to find the photo of the guy taking the photo,
It's an
because
unending
then
like
there
it's like
would
a
be.
mirror. The
Yeah,
mirror's
yeah.
on a
Okay,
mirror.
too far.
Yeah.
I'm going too far here. Nico says, "Miss you, buddy. Same, man. Miss you too, man." Um, I got some more interesting internet stuff. One that I thought particularly you would be interested in is this little picture here, because you,
Oh my
particularly right
goodness.
now, are into
That's pipe frame.
Mario Kart, right?
That's pipe frame.
So this is someone made a realistic sized. Let me pull up what the.
That is 100% a Mario Kart car. That's the pipe frame model that you can choose on Mario Kart,
Yeah.
and those are the slick wheels.
Yeah, so it
That's
says what
incredible.
Mario Karts would look like in real life, made by me, 3D. So I'm assuming
Wow.
that it's like big enough for someone to like it
Yeah.
looks like that looks like a road and stuff.
Yeah, like did they actually build this thing? That's not like
Yeah.
a rendering, right? Yeah.
No, they built it. What
That
Mario
is
Karts
so
would look,
cool.
or I'm assuming. I can look into that. But anyways, but
I
the
I,
comment
I
was
choose to
made
believe it
what
exists.
Mario Karts would look like in real life, made by me, 3D. Now it could be a rendering. Now
I
that you
have
say
been
that,
I have been playing a lot of Mario Kart sort of in between
John enjoys
working on
that.
music and studying for some of these online courses I'm doing, and it's a nice way to pass the time. I'm getting quite good, I will say. And I can say it's because I didn't really grow up being good at video games, so I kind of feel like I'm not you know typically qualified, so I kind of feel excited about it. But I am I am quite good at the game now.
Good man.
Like I'm the kind of guy now who could go to a friend's hang or a party and sort of thing, and just like it's going on casually and sit down. Somebody like challenges thinking they're awesome, and I could probably sit down and be like, all right, let's play a few rounds
And
here,
be
sort of thing.
competitive, yeah.
Yeah, and I like that. There's a sort of like a cred that comes with a Mario Kart party, specifically that game. There is. It's a weird
Well, it's
thing
a
because I've seen
classic.
it
It's a
happen.
classic. It's one of
Yeah,
the classic games ever made, you know? One of the most
totally,
classic. Um,
totally.
Jody says, all I can hear is the Mario theme song now. Amy says, nice, looking forward to beating you. So apparently she's good. She actually does play
Oh yeah.
quite a few racing games, so Amy might be competitive with you, John,
Oh, it'd be good.
honestly.
I'd love to play Amy. That'd be
Yeah.
fun.
I
I
have
don't have an
I
online. I got
can't
to set up an
recall if
online
I
account.
saw her playing specifically Mario Kart, but she probably was.
Oh,
But
probably.
like she
Yeah.
plays legitimate racing games on Twitch and stuff, and she's great.
That's
Um,
awesome. I love that.
like realistic games, not like the child games that you play, John. Um, now, speaking of childhood stuff with John kids stuff that he likes, it connects a little bit, John. But you also are
Just go
very
with it.
you as a kid were really big into train sets, and you also wanted to
Oh,
create like a train room, right? Well, I found a picture in the. This is again
no.
interesting internet stuff. It kind of blends your interest in trains with our mutual interest in like dead malls and sort of
Ooh.
eerie stuff like that. I found a
Mm.
photo of a train set. Someone found like a train set room. Someone found
Yeah. So
in the
when we were on.
basement of an abandoned home. This.
Whoa. It's like kind of
So
like derelict, eh? Like kind of
this
falling apart.
this complete train set found in the basement of an abandoned house.
Wow. It looks like Chernobyl.
Somebody put a lot of effort into this and then ended up having just to
That's
leave
sad.
it. Yeah, it's kind of a sad sight, but I thought you would find it
Oh,
interesting. How
I still
eerie.
think it
It's kind
looks
of eerie.
cool.
It's like
It is eerie. It kind of looks like the train railroad. Oh, Siri just came on. Siri, stop. I don't know what I said to me.
90% of the time Siri comes on when you don't want to
No,
use
yeah,
Siri.
and 90% of the time she doesn't come on when you want her to. No, that looks like the rail yard in like Chernobyl or something. It's just like,
Yeah.
wow, that's wild. No,
So I found
I've
that
been
for you.
obsessed with that. It's like since I was a kid, I've always loved trains. because we grew up next to that. I can't remember if we talked about this or not, but we grew up next to the
think we did.
CN Railway, which is Canadian National Railway. It's one of the two major railways in Canada, and really just running through our backyard. So for me, I have always wanted to, and I always said when I grow up or when I'm older, when I'm kind of settled or whatever, and I've got space and stuff like that, I'm actually kind of there now. Like I
Oh, you
can't
can have a
keep kidding
room.
myself. I can't keep kidding myself like this is some distant dream. Like it's here because my plan has always been to have a model railroad room and actually start building one. So I might do that.
Do it in the
I need a
basement.
little more disposable income. Let's be honest. Like this stuff is not cheap, but
You can sell your Lego
yeah,
sets.
I could sell my Lego sets. But see, I want to set up a room for Lego too, so it's kind of a catch 22 there. But I just remember being a little guy, 3 years old, a babysitter that used to babysit me. And James, you would have been way too young to remember this, but Francine was her name, and her dad had railroad sets in his basement. She took because she knew I like trains. I was like 2 or 3 years old. She took me to his house once, and I saw them, and that was the first time I'd ever seen them. And then Dad took me to Portsmouth Olympic Harbor in Kingston for the Model Railroad show, and my whole world was changed. It was like, oh man, this is absolutely something. So I've 30 years now almost. I've been planning. I've been planning. People plan their retirement. I plan to do model railroading. That's
There
like
you
my
go.
succession planning here.
Right
Anyway,
on. Amy says, session planning. Amy says, um, yes, I do have Amy's Switch friend code, so I could give that to
ooh,
you, John, and then you
well, that's
guys
a good idea.
could then we could see who's the best.
Excellent.
Jody says after a volcano erupts is how she interprets that scene. Go ahead, John.
Oh no, that was good. I assume it's Mario Kart 8. That's all I was gonna. We'll
Okay,
talk about this.
we'll
We'll
hear.
talk about this
Well,
internally.
she'll respond. She'll respond.
Yeah, that's
Hopefully.
awesome. Mario Kart 8. Yeah, I've been
Um,
playing Mario Kart 8 a lot.
we have excuse me, Glenn Page in the chat says things are
Awesome.
moving ahead faster than I could have hoped for here in the U.S. The vaccine
It's so awesome.
does seem like such a simple solution, but a welcome one after the past year's drama. Concerts are
Absolutely.
back. Hoping to see you soon. Absolutely, Glenn. Hope to
Yeah,
see you
Glenn,
soon
thank you
too.
so much. And it's true. We've been watching. It's so nice to see. And that was one thing we were talking with our producer just a couple weeks ago, and how encouraging it is that, I mean, we were all ready to go if we had to, record from afar if we had to, even just here in Harrowsmith, and send files back and forth. But it's so nice to be able to get in the room. And I think just to be able to have that creative collaboration in person, just there's nothing really like that. And James, we've talked about this before, but even from writing on Zoom, we've done a couple of those and they work great, but there's nothing like being in the room and being able to quickly fire back and forward ideas. It's the same
Yeah,
thing with producing a record. So I don't think I realized how much I missed it until the idea that we could start doing it again came into play, and we were like, oh right, that's really in our hearts what we want to do, right? So
sure.
that's exciting.
Jody says, John, how goes your secret room?
Oh, well, I don't have my secret model railroad room yet. I have a bunch of bins with my Lego right now.
Oh, the
Like I
goal is to
said,
have a secret model
oh, the
railroad
secret
room.
room. Yeah, 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 yeah.
We
No,
were
the
talking about
secret
secret
room.
rooms, and
Like with the
we had a
secret
whole
tunnels.
segment.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
haven't started digging. I haven't started
yeah, you
digging
got to
out,
do that from your
albeit.
basement, eh?
Yeah, that's right. There's a few projects I've got on the go. Like I said, I need a lot more disposable income to be able to do some of this eccentric stuff.
We've gone through quite a
We'll
few
get there.
topics, eh? Like that was,
I
I think,
know.
part of the first season,
No, I think
and
that was
we
this season. That was
was it this
early
season,
this season. Pretty
and we
sure.
talked about the all those secret
Yeah.
rooms, and
Yeah.
that's
I'm
good,
pretty sure
man.
it was early this season because it was
That
just
was
like
back when John brought interesting topics to the
yeah.
podcast
Oh,
and
that's
put some
nice,
effort
James.
in.
That's nice. Yeah.
Sorry. You bring lots of
Here's an
great stuff.
interesting topic for you on the because we keep kind of coming back to
Early
this
this
topic of
season,
health.
Jody says. Early this season, so Jody
It
knows
was,
better than
yeah.
me. That's good.
No, but on the topic of health, because we've kind of like been talking about it, and it is kind of appropriate because we are kind of coming out of it now. But obviously we had mom growing up; she's a nurse practitioner, and so we had a lot of access to stuff. And vitamins was a big thing that she would be able to bring home, and so Alex and I've kind of got back into vitamins. In fairness, mom has been buying them because she wants to see us
I
healthy.
have
So she's
vitamins
been
every
saying
day,
no.
man.
And so anyway, we bought these. I sent you a picture, but we bought these
Yeah, I
apple
saw this.
cider vinegar gummies. Okay, this
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
I don't know.
No,
This
no, I
feels
know.
very like SoCal, Southern California to me. But in any
Yeah,
event,
why are you
it's,
taking them?
well, apparently apple cider vinegar is really good for you. It is like and
Yes,
I
no,
can't
I'm
remember all the
aware.
things.
I'm aware.
I can't remember all the things that it does. Like
I'm pretty sure I told you about apple cider vinegar before.
okay, well there you go.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
I never
so
had the gummies, but there's a certain type of brand of apple cider vinegar that, but what it does
well, it sucks to
in some
drink it.
ways,
Like people don't like drinking
I think
it.
it's
Who
good for
likes to?
blood sugar.
That's right. That's the one. That's one of the big ones. Also
Yeah,
good
but
for satiating your appetite. It does,
it makes you not as hungry. So like
right.
yeah, just don't get too emaciated on us here, eh?
Oh yeah, no, that's fine. I'm still. Here's the point. Okay,
Does it
we've been
help with
taking
your
these.
sugar?
We've been
With
taking
your
these.
sugar cravings?
Hopefully, I don't take my blood sugar,
No, no, I'm
but
talking
it
about. You
hasn't been.
remember you wanting
Yeah.
like
Mm,
five rows of cookies, but
yeah,
not
yeah.
five
No, it
cookies.
hasn't. It hasn't helped satiate that. I still want 5 rolls of cookies. So we've been taking them regularly. They taste awesome. So you know what? In the end of the day, I think I'm getting good benefits. They taste great. But yeah, it feels very like, oh, this kale's normal now. So I mean, these kinds of things are now the new kind of very I don't know, very Southern California inspired.
Well, and they come in waves, right? Because like everybody, and this was a while ago, but avocado was kind of like an exotic, cool thing up
I know.
north. But
I just had an
now,
avocado lunch today.
I think you were saying that it's become controversial because of how much water
Oh
avocados
yeah,
require.
apparently. Yeah.
So there's
I haven't heard
a
that. I
problem with
still love
everything.
my avocados, so I'm eating them. And actually, like avocado, here's the test. Avocados and Subway. That's how ubiquitous avocado is now, right? I mean, the avocado only used to be in Subway in Southern California.
Yeah.
From when we grew up, we knew that, or in the South. Now it's like everywhere. Um,
And
so I
trust me,
guess I'm
we know
saying I'm not
Subways.
cool. I'm not cool. I'm just eating normal things, maybe.
We know Subways because it's like the only thing that's in, if you're playing in little towns across
Yeah,
North America,
Subway,
there's a Subway.
Subway
You can.
catering. We've had lots of Subway
Oh
catering
yeah,
at certain shows. I won't name names, but I remember I'd have to tell people at shows that Subway isn't catering.
they do. No, it is technically catering.
Well, I
Like
guess
they
it
have
is
a
because
no, no.
because
They
they bring a
actually
tray.
advertise Subway cater. Like it's they
That's
have.
right.
I've been in
Yeah,
Subways and they have the picture. They go
right. That's true.
cater your business meeting with Subway. So
Sure.
it is
And you know what?
catering.
Lunch, yeah. But like when we go
I
to
hope you
play
didn't use
shows,
that as an argument at some point.
well, I mean, I think it did initially, but no, but I mean, like when we say we need catering or need to be able to eat a proper meal before we go on stage, it's not like a Subway quarter size veggie sub. You know what I mean? Like it's something
For
a little
sure.
more, just a little more sustenance than that.
Sure.
But anyway, you know what?
Jody or
We're
Amy.
just thankful for people looking after us at all. I mean, by the
That's
way,
true.
kicking the it's
Yeah.
better than a kick in the teeth,
Yeah,
as
I
we like to say.
appreciate having something to eat around a
Yeah.
show for sure. Amy says James trolling so much. Absolutely. That's what I live to do when I'm interacting with John.
He's a troll
I've
for
done
sure.
that forever,
Troll with a
as
little
long as I can
football head.
remember.
Yep.
Jody says I drink a shot first thing in the morning. So Jody is definitely on the apple cider vinegar
Yeah,
or
Jody,
the.
try these gummies. Tell me
Uh,
if you next season, I guess.
does
Tell
it
me if
taste
there's
like
a,
vinegar? The gummy?
well, very little, but it tastes more like a gummy. Like it tastes more like a gummy you get
Cool.
like at the corner store. So
That's
it's
cool.
actually kind of nice.
And we got Chris Edwards in here.
Chris
Says,
Edwards.
guys, we gotta. That was the end of the comment. I'm now adding to it. I don't want to start saying things and then it's like as if he's saying it.
Actually, it's funny
Haven't seen Chris in quite a while.
you mentioned Chris. Chris is a an excellent lawyer. He worked with our dad for many years.
I can't see the
Chris is
picture, but
also
I'm assuming it's this. Yeah, that Chris Edwards.
yeah,
I don't
I'm
know if you
assuming
can see. But if it's not, we apologize if this is different Chris Edwards for some
Chris is
odd reason.
son of Cliff Edwards, who was a member of the Bells, a phenomenal pop group in Canada in the 1960s, legendary. And Chris himself is a great musician. He did radio work when he was younger and before he's a lawyer, and a great musician and songwriter. And I should say, Chris, if you're still on, I was out gardening this week thinking about our Highway 17 song that we wrote together. James knows about this. I wrote a song with Chris Edwards a couple of years ago, and they've performed it. Paul Langlois from the Tragically Hip did a recorded single for them on it, and And that song still gets stuck in my head. And I thought, you know what, Chris, that those are good memories. And maybe the three of us have to
That's
get together and do
that's
some writing
amazing.
once we
Absolutely.
can get
Some
this
jamming.
pandemic over. We definitely
Uh,
should sing on that song together on stage next time you guys are up, because I'm
Chris
just itching to play.
Chris writes, loved it, brother. Right on. Absolutely.
Right
Absolutely.
on.
And yeah, jam session for sure to happen.
Absolutely.
I think I caught up with the chat, which is good. And uh, just going through a couple of the last things I have for. Oh yeah, we're almost at an hour here, which is the end of. It's gonna be the end of season 2 here. So thanks
Speaking,
for. But I want to get through the last couple of interesting internets, stuff I got. But go ahead.
well, I was just gonna say we should talk briefly about this being the season finale for us, a little bit like the season reunion slash finale of Friends last week.
Okay,
For
true. Let's talk
anybody
about that.
who watched that, we don't have to
It was
go into
basically
deep
just kind of
conversation.
sad for me. I felt like
James was just
you know
bummed out by it, weren't you?
they've just all gotten just a little bit older, and they kind of just blatantly said they'll never be together again for stuff, and it's like, why not just leave the door open and leave it on a nice note and have a nice reunion? Like it just was too, and
Yeah,
then
we
with the
loved it, but we
music,
were also like,
yeah, it
it
was
was
pretty
very
intense.
sad. It was
Um,
very sad, to think, oh well, because that's how everybody felt in 2004. Like everybody was just crying and sad about
yeah, it
that show
was
being
the
over.
biggest show going at
So,
that
but it
point,
was a great
other than
special. If you have a
Seinfeld,
chance
right?
to watch it, go check it out. I really enjoyed it, and it kind of feels like that right now, James. We're rounding the end of this episode. Let's do your last internet. I want to do your last interesting internet
Yeah.
points to go out on, because
Well, here we go. The heartfelt little heartwarming thing. We got Sergeant Stubby, the
oh,
most decorated dog of the 20th century. Fought for the
wow,
102nd Infantry Regiment. He
what a
saved
champ.
his entire regiment from a surprise mustard gas attack and was known for comforting the wounded. So thank you, Sergeant Stubby, for your
Was
service.
he American or Canadian?
American, I believe.
So
You can
World War
Google. You
II
can
looks
Google.
like World War II, maybe.
Do you want me to Google it? I don't want to speak out of turn.
Well, anyway, I think that's awesome. There's, you know what, those stories about, actually we were talking about that in class today about dogs in armed conflict, and there's a very special stories about dogs, and it's the sense
Was a
of
dog was
self-sacrifice.
unofficial mascot of the 102nd Infantry Regiment, United States. He served
Amazing.
18 months and participated in 17 battles in the Western Front. World War One.
Western Front, World War One. Oh, so
Yeah,
that's an old picture. Wow.
yeah, yeah.
Wow. That is so
1920.
cool.
I think the picture's from 1920.
Wow.
The last couple interesting internet stuff. It's kind of stretched the whole episode this week. Um,
You
got
like it, James.
we
It's
like we
okay.
like interesting weird little vehicles on the
Wow.
show. This is a 1938. It's called a Dymaxion car. I think
Huh.
it was in preparation for it was designed to nod toward the in preparation for cars to eventually fly one day. I think
Oh
was the
yeah. That looks like if you braked too hard, you'd slam the front down. Like, do you
dude,
mean
that
like
thing
for
is
balance?
crazy. It's a submarine.
Yeah.
Like it's like I think they were in preparation for cars to not just be land vehicles,
Right.
but it was
Yeah.
so the
That's
designer was
cool.
trying to nod toward the future of what, and of course
I think somebody says
cars have done none of those things. But
none of those things.
well, there
We
is
invented we
amphibious
invented the
cars.
internet. The internet took over like the
Yeah, like
all of
yeah,
the
inventive
mind's
power. Yeah.
inventive power went to the toward the internet rather than other cool stuff like flying cars. I wish we had flying cars, man. I really hope we do before I'm gone. I really do.
Um.
It's a big list item for big bucket list
Well,
item
we
for
can get
me.
into that into season 3, but I've heard arguments for why they don't make sense, but we can continue that a different day.
Sure. Sure.
Jody says, "Good Memorial Day salute." Absolutely, there you go. That with Sergeant Stubby.
Love that. That's right.
Tina,
Memorial
yeah,
Day, of course. Yep.
right.
I think it's
I probably should have left
Memorial
it on
Day.
that
Isn't it
instead of.
Memorial Day in the UK right
It's
now? Is
separated
that?
by a week between Canada and the U.S., and we had
Oh,
our long
perfect.
weekend. This weekend is for the U.S. If you guys can correct me if
Oh
I'm wrong.
yeah, Memorial Day in the States. Yeah, right.
Um, The good thing is they are friends for life and do keep in touch in the real world. Am I? What I'm trying
Can't remember
to.
what that was pertaining to.
Yeah.
But
Um.
on your point about flying cars, like just watch Star Wars episode like 1, 2, or 3, and go to the Coruscant, the planet there, and
Yeah.
they seem to
Sorry,
have
Tina,
traffic
I'm out to
figured out in
lunch
that
on
city. Anyway,
that.
but anyway, yeah, I just
What are
want
you
to
talking
defend.
about?
Well, I just want to defend flying cars for a second.
We'll get into
Okay?
that, John.
No. I just want to
The
defend
Friends.
it. I just
Oh, the Friends reunion. Thank you,
oh,
Tina.
Friends
I'm
reunion.
so
Yeah,
out of touch. I was looking for John to save me. And he
watch
just...
Star Wars. I mean, they've figured out flying car traffic. I think it's possible. Stop being such a naysayer.
Okay, and I'm up to on my things. Yeah, we'll get into that season 3.
We should.
We'll probably
We should.
forget, but hopefully, as we
Probably.
said, we will be hopefully adding you know, some traveling experiences and some special guest experiences. We hope to kind of get into that more this season. I think I can speak for John, but just with the way that we weren't in the same room, we were for a bit, and then we had to split up for a bit, kind of made that harder because I'm kind of I'm FaceTiming John, or zooming John.
Well, and in and out of
in a way.
lockdown, it's kind of better to figure out a format that worked.
And
also, we'll take Petey on the road with us.
Tina says, great.
Okay, so we'll take Pete on the road with us.
That's about this season. That's about this show in a nutshell. Everything's falling apart here. Great season, you guys. See you soon. Thank you so much. I'll pull up a little outro music, and we thank you guys for hanging out with us. This was the last episode of season 2, Off-Road with the Abrams. Like I said, that's about like this show. It's often falling apart in some ways. Jody says, take care, guys. Enjoy not wearing coats. Enjoy wearing pants again, and leaving your homes. Enjoy wearing pants again. Right on. Well, as we like to say at the end of every episode, remember, one of these days, it'll all make sense. One of these days.
One of these days.
See you guys.